How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining me today. That, of course, is my outro song, Church of Eight Wheels by Otis McDonald. I feel like it really sets the right vibe, the right tone. I mean, we're here to have fun. I mean, we're here to talk about charts. We're here to, crypto, trading psychology, all that stuff, folks. So thank you for being here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know how you're doing. Jump into the chat room, hit subscribe. You can drop me a question. And I just love your questions. I love your feedback. So let's get right into it. So this is, of course, part of the quick market update series on my YouTube at Cheds Trading. I'm live streaming here twice a week, Tuesday, Friday. Folks, I just started a brand new playlist, the Daily Education Playlist. I'm putting out a brand new video every day, a lot of timeless content. What's a hanging man candle? Oh, these haven't been out yet, right? Oh, these are scheduled, so you don't see these yet. So you can see a couple videos I have ready to go. What's an uptrend? Moving average basics, outside bar. I am going to put out a video every day, something for you to continue to learn every day. So take advantage of that. I have the Masterclass tutorial playlist ready for you. If you want to learn, classical charting, Japanese candlestick theory. I've published 4 books. Isn't that cool? I love writing books. And so I'm making, when I publish a new book, like for example, the Trading Journal is out right now. It's available on Amazon. People love the book. And since I have the new book out, I'm making that 3rd book free. So the Trading Quotes book, and I've already done 25% of the entire book. I'm going to do the whole book for free. I just put that out. So as you can see, I've got a ton of stuff here for you. You know me, of course. I'm on Twitter at Big Cheds. Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst, and I do a twice a week full market report. I've been doing that for 7 years. You can check that out. As a reminder, if you are looking for an exchange, check out BingX, my favorite exchange. So folks, what's going on? I have a couple tweets I want to talk about. I want to talk about this outside bar, what it means. And that was actually the subject of today's daily education video here. It was the subject of today's daily education video. So you can check that out, but I'm going to riff on it here today. I'm going to tell you what's going on. What's up, Pine Oceanic? What's up, Gunleaf, Jeffrey, Meg, Pedro, Burnside in the house. Hey, Burnside. Big G, it's good to see you folks, and to everybody who keeps coming to these streams. It's great to have you. For folks who are watching on delay, watching delay like watching it later, thank you. I'll pretend you're here with me now watching it. I'll pretend you're with me right now watching it. So what's going on here? So let's take a look at Bitcoin, and then get your questions ready. I'll go as long as I have questions in the chat room. So let's set the table. We'll set the table, of course, with the weekly picture. Price versus a rising EMA 8, uptrend. Price above a rising MA 200, uptrend. Price near range peak, uptrend. High and tight bullish consolidation, okay? Weekly chart is beautiful. I guess monthly. We can take a look at the monthly. Still a little bit young for me in the sense that, not young in terms of like Peter Schiff young, but young in the sense that there's no MA 200. So for my methodology, for my style, it's actually, you can't even really use a monthly chart, right? So for me, the highest time frame, which is valid, is weekly. Okay, weekly chart is beautiful. We just had the 2nd highest weekly close in history. But what's interesting is this consolidation channel I just illustrated for you. The consolidation channel on the weekly chart. And we can see here in the daily chart, we have this tightening range here, okay? Well, maybe not necessarily a tightening range, but we have this somewhat sideways range, and most recently with the range low sweep and recapture. And I've done plenty of work here on my YouTube talking about how you approached the price as the price approached the 100K level. We had been waiting and watching for a 100K test. You dropped to a lower time frame. You were allowed, the price gave you plenty of structure for which you were able to take some type of new long exposure from that level. And once the price bounced, okay, you started to think to yourself, okay, we have a bounce, we're back into the range, and now we're looking for a lower high in here somewhere. So setting the table, I put out a tweet here basically, a week or so ago. I basically said, range low recapture, MA50 just above on the daily. We're looking to set a lower high between here and 107K. And so looks to me, for my read of the chart, looks like the lower high is a little bit higher, right around 108K. But the reason why we're looking for a lower high, the reason why I'm looking for a lower high is that we're in this consolidation on the weekly, as I illustrated, and it would just make sense for the price, now that it's recaptured support, put in a lower high, come back, test support, and put in a higher low from the low we just put in, okay? Put in a higher low from the low we just put in. Again, I just explained this in the daily education video, but it just makes sense for this to continue to consolidate further, find a higher low here somewhere, and then make a push and test, the range peak, okay? So to me, that's just what is most logical. That's what just makes the most sense to me, is we do push back into support somewhere around here. Now, that had been my game plan of what I thought would probably happen, okay? Now, following through yesterday, we finally got this, not finally, but we got this candle, a daily outside bar, okay? What's an outside bar? It's not necessarily a place where you can go have a drink outside. Those are fun. But it's an outside bar. And again, I have an entire video actually on this, not just yesterday's candle, but outside bars in general here from 3 days ago. So I'm planning, fixing to create a huge educational library for you in that playlist, where you can go look up stuff. What's an outside bar? What's an inside bar? So we have the outside bar in Bitcoin here, where this daily candle eclipses the prior range of the entire candle. And it comes in the context of a move up. It comes in the context of a move up, which is important because any type of reversal or positive signal, you want it to be, after a move up, okay? So we see after the move up, we see the outside bar, and it's at a spot for a logical lower high. Why is it logical? Here's your high, here's your lower high. It makes sense to put in a lower high in here, again, somewhere in this range, to then push for the higher low. So we have the tweet. I'm saying that we have the push into a logical lower high spot as price looks to continue consolidation. And in my view, it's probably going to continue to chop around and consolidate here. Incredibly healthy. It looks pretty good. I've seen a lot of nonsense on Twitter about paper Bitcoin or supply shock. You can just ignore that stuff and just let the price guide you. This is incredibly logical price action thus far. And that's my read on it. Gunleaf says, greetings from Sweden. What's up, brother? So what do you folks want to talk about? Let's see here. If you have any charts that you want me to look at, any altcoins, we can do that. I'll just quickly touch base on Solana. Solana kind of turning back here a little bit so far at the descending supply trend. Let's clean it up. I know we had the news, of the ETF, right? It's supposed to be it's really big deal. It's bullish. It is definitely good, but the price is consolidating in the context of a falling daily MA200. It's a daily downtrend. Recapture of 145 was important. So for my money, I'm just going to want to see, can that level hold going forward? Again, lower highs, push into the lower high structure, recapture of 145. That 145 is an important building block if the price wants to continue with the weekly trend, which is an uptrend, right? The daily chart's a downtrend, which is the secondary trend, right? And it's consolidating right now. So want to see it hold 145. Ethereum, quite a logical play. I actually like the fact that Ethereum gave me a really easy trade-off, 2150 again. I gave you folks huge warning signs up here with the pre-tower top saying it looks like we're going to do a BART, what you think of as a BART or a tower top. I said we're likely to drop to the midpoint of that green candle. We did exactly that. It's been a very beautiful and orderly consolidation, even though the trend kind of sucks. It's not that strong. Super easy trade-off, 2100, 2150. Hopefully you took that as well. And that was just one of the easier trades of the year right there. In the meantime, I'm watching it continue to consolidate. I want to see if it drops back to 2150 again or it breaks out over 2900. Couple requests coming in. We'll start out with Hypecoin was requested. We don't have a ton of history on Hypecoin, but it's a bullish chart. How do I know it's bullish? Well, we do have an MA200. It's rising. It's price above a rising MA200, but it's also price above prior peaks. It's price above rising MA50, price above local support. Sure, it's consolidating in this range. Head and shoulders top? Maybe. But that wouldn't really matter until it loses support around 30, 31, 32. You're already watching here anyway, okay? You're already watching this level. You don't need to call it a head and shoulders top. So going forward, you're going to want to see, should support hold around 31, 32. B. Carol, what's up? The question was, is there a tweezer bottom? It's actually tweezers. I actually have been getting this wrong for years. It's tweezers bottom. It's a plural thing. 4-hour tweezers bottom. Sure. And there certainly is evidence for some local support here on the 4H, circa the 106K. I just think the daily signal does suggest we drop a little bit lower first. But absolutely, this would be a valid tweezers bottom. Okay? Tweezers bottom where you have similar wicks. One candle after another. The body doesn't have to be the same. They don't have to be the exact same price. But this and I'll do a video, of course, folks, for the daily education series. Very much it does qualify as a tweezers bottom. Good eye. Okay, Oceanic says, you mentioned a lot that you prefer not to use bounded oscillators such as the RSI, correct? How do you analyze strength and weakness in the OBV? Great. A great question. And again, this is explained in the Masterclass tutorial playlist. I'm going to have a daily education video, and I have a new Masterclass coming out this year. The on-balance volume is a momentum indicator, and essentially it's an index indicator. It adds up the volume in the green versus the red candles, okay? So what's important about the OBV is you want to see it confirm the trend. All right. Now you can zoom in, you can try to draw divergence locally. Let's just move this down and make this a little bit bigger just for fun, okay? So essentially the on-balance volume, the OBV, it adds up the volume on the green and subtracts the volume on the red candles. And you can intuitively see the OBV in the price. I don't necessarily need to pull it up here. It pretty clearly matches the trend, right? So the OBV confirms the trend. There's no warning signs one way or another, but you can see, for example, if we had huge green spikes, we had huge red spikes here of red volume while the price was sideways, the OBV would be falling, and that would be a little bit of a warning sign. That would suggest that the bulls are having trouble sustaining the rally. You use the on-balance volume to confirm the trend. It is not a bounded oscillator. It works pretty well for regular divergence, where you look for example, lower highs in the OBV using candle body, right? When you draw divergence, either use a line chart or do candle body. You can use it for that. I just think most traders, especially beginning and even intermediate traders, should just not use oscillators. Just don't use the RSI, don't use MACD, don't use OBV, don't use any of those. Focus on price versus support. Maybe a couple moving averages that are fine. Understand how to use the moving averages. Just as I've gotten more experienced and I've traded more, I just don't use OBV even. I don't use RSI because I can see it in the price. You can generally see what's going on just by studying volume in the candles. All right, what's up, Pine? Pine says lights out. What? You lost your power or what? I don't know what's going on. Burnside, what's up, dog? So Burnside, thoughts on Bitcoin dominance? Yeah, it's bullish still. I know people want it to roll over. Yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, people want this chart to be topping off, but there's just no evidence. I mean, there's not much to say, Burnside. What are my thoughts on Bitcoin dominance chart? Bitcoin is dominant. It looks to continue to be dominant. I saw somebody drawing like an RSI divergence. You don't want to do that. First of all, this is not an actively traded chart. No one's buying and selling this chart. But just don't do that. Don't do that. Don't draw divergence in a chart like this. It's just a very simple, strong uptrend. It's a very steady trend. Look at the shape. Look at the slope of the 200s, controlled rise. This is grinding higher. People have been calling top in this since, November of 2024 for sure. It did have a little bit of a dip here, but the strong bounce from there. People want it to be altcoin season. I get it. But there's just no evidence, no suggestion from my view that this is topped off or, slowing down at this point. Pine says chess. I need a pool. Well, I'm actually Cheds, but I do love chess. You're listening by the pool. What's up, brother? I need a pool too. I'd love to be by the pool. I love the water. I absolutely love the water. Maddie says, "Do you see?" You're welcome, Oceanic. Do you see Sui coming back 235? Do I see Sui coming back? Yeah. I mean, it's headed back towards support around 210, 205 range. It has a clear overhead level at $3. In Bitcoin Live, I talked about a lot about the loss of momentum up here and the warning signs here, given the macro lower high structure. So it's drifting lower, lost support locally. Doing a little bit of a bearish wedge here. It looks like it's probably going to continue back to the low twos on SUI. So, and that's a very clear momentum pivot, a very clear risk pivot. If you are long in SUI, you pretty much need to see it hold here. I think I saw Raoul Paul put out, a chart, and sure, it's still bullish, certainly as long as it holds above this range, high time frame. But you do not want to get into a position where this level is lost if you're into SUI. What's up, Marco? And folks, you can ask me a question while I'm here. This is a great opportunity for you to talk to me, ask me a trading psychology question, ask me a altcoin request. I miss I miss you, but like I don't see all of your tweets. So if you ask me a question on Twitter, there's a good chance I'll miss it. Do you believe, Marcus says, do you believe the Bitcoin bull cycle would end in about 4 months? Why? Why would I predict that? And I'm not a cycles trader. My colleague Bob is like master of cycles. And it's funny because I'm doing CMT2 right now, reading the textbook. And I've been learning about cycles. I did it for CMT1. That stuff is hard. I got to really, really nail it down. But I don't use cycles. My methodologies, I'm not going to predict. Like, I don't understand predicting in 4 months that the cycle would end. Like, why? Based on what? Like, I don't get that. There's certainly no evidence. It's a high and tight weekly consolidation. Beautiful trend. I see no reason to want to try to guess 4 months out. I can't even really tell you 4 days out. So no, Marco, it's just not my style. What do I think about SPX? Yeah, that's a very popular meme coin right now. SPX 6900. I think I was actually taking a little peek at it earlier. What do I think about it? A little more history. Not much history. It doesn't have a ton of history is the biggest problem. Do I think it will make an all-time high? Yeah, probably. I mean, it doesn't have a ton of history though, so it's hard to be like super excited about it. It has a very beautiful push from range lows all the way back, challenging all-time highs. It looks to have paused there. And like Bitcoin, it actually is on a higher low hunt. And, logically speaking, it would be somewhere in this level around $1. So I actually think it probably will drift a little bit lower first, test somewhere in that $1 range. But generally, I think it probably will eventually break out from here, just based on momentum, based on the available evidence we have, which of course is a little bit handicapped because there's not a ton of history. So Albie, those are my thoughts. What's up, Antonio? You're from Argentina, in the Patagonia. What's up, man? Mucho gusto, Antonio. Thanks for all the big chats. I appreciate you. Have a good day. You too, my friend. You too, my friend. Marco says, I appreciate your analysis. You're right. Cycles are too difficult to predict. I mean, look, Bob does a good job with it. It's just, Bob, my colleague at Bitcoin Live, I'm just not a cycles trader. I'm so philosophically against predicting out, like targets. Oh, what's your target? I don't like to kind of think too much far ahead because there's a danger where you may be convincing yourself of something should happen or something's about to happen. So we've got Bitcoin right now with the daily outside bar. Folks, just so I have the brand new playlist on my YouTube, Cheds Trading, new video every day, right? Daily videos. And I explained a tweet I put out, Bitcoin now daily outside bar at logical lower high spot. And I essentially was explaining this tweet. It's a logical lower high spot. Price looks to continue consolidation, and the price is consolidating on the weekly time frame. It's high and tight. Price above a weekly EMA 8. And the daily outside bar, again, to me is suggestive that the price, here's the outside bar. Again, if you want to know what an outside bar is, you just go to my daily education series. I explain it here in this video what an outside bar is. Price looks to pause here. Set the lower high to this high, to this high. Come back, test support. That's my most logical, my best guess on what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Cronus says, great content. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that's just my best guess of what's going to happen next, folks. I talked about Ethereum. I talked about Solana a little bit. And this is part of the daily education series. This is part of, pardon me, the quick market update series. I live stream here twice a week. I've published 4 books. I've got Trading Journal out now that's on Amazon. Since Trading Journal's out, I'm making trading quotes free. Check out that playlist. I'm working on a new Masterclass tutorial. Check out Bing X if you're looking for an exchange. Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. I've been doing twice a week market report for the last 7 years. It's a fun little stream, folks. I'm going to wrap it up here. We'll finish it off with a little bit of dancing, but I'm going to be back on Friday for Probably back on Friday. I got to think about that. There's a good chance I'll be back Friday. If not, I'll be back next Tuesday. But you will get a brand new video from me every day. Check out the daily education series. And folks, thank you for hanging out. I really, really appreciate you. And I will talk to you. Oh, one more. Somebody asked about INJ. I'll cover that because I had been talking to someone on Twitter about that. So you talked about INJ the other day, moving a $7 level. Didn't it hold that level now? It went to like $9. $7 levels lower here. This is just a really bad chart. It's just a very controlled, consolidating downtrend. It looks to come back, retest 9, probably push lower and test that $7 range. So I don't like that. Oceanic says, how do you spend your time in between trades? Well, I'm working a lot. I'm not only trading, but I'm teaching, I'm creating content, I'm reading, I'm working on a lot of stuff. I'm working on recording the audiobook for the Trading Journal. I'm working on the playlist for trading quotes, where I'm reading the entire book for free. I'm reading the CMT2 textbook. I'm working on doing some interviews for my long-form interview series. I'm preparing for the new Masterclass. So there's a ton of stuff that I'm doing. And yeah, just want to get more content for you folks. So thank you so much. Folks, thank you. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I will talk to you soon. Let's go for the Church of 8 Wheels. Deep, heartfelt thank you, folks. Big Cheds out.